Welcome to Divine Therapy Incorporated. As we begin this session, I invite you to take a moment to simply notice the weight of your own body. Notice where your back meets the chair, where your feet meet the floor, and the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Today we explore a story about the heavy burdens we carry from our past. This is a story for anyone who feels weighed down by things they cannot change, by mistakes they have made, or by events that were never their fault to begin with. This is the story of a man named Silas and the vest that nearly broke him. In a town nestled in a valley where the mist often lingered until noon, there lived a man named Silas. Silas was a man of great strength and even greater kindness. He was the person people went to when they needed help lifting a heavy timber or clearing a fallen tree. But as the years passed, people noticed that Silas seemed to be growing shorter. His shoulders were permanently hunched forward, his neck was perpetually strained, and he walked with a slow, heavy shuffle that made him look twice his actual age. Silas was carrying a secret. Underneath his thick wool coats and his sturdy shirts, Silas wore a weighted vest. The vest was made of a dark, indestructible canvas, and it was filled with hundreds of small, leaden stones. Each stone represented a moment from Silas's past that he could not let go of. There were stones for the things he had said in anger and could never take back. There were stones for the opportunities he had missed out of fear. There were stones for the people he had loved and lost, and stones for the trauma he had witnessed as a young man that still haunted his dreams. To Silas, the vest was not just a burden, it was a penance. He believed that by carrying this weight, he was proving that he remembered his lessons. He believed that the weight kept him grounded, preventing him from ever being too happy or too light, because he felt he did not deserve to be either. The weight was manageable at first. When Silas was a young man, he only carried a few stones. He could still run, he could still dance, and he could still reach for the high branches of the apple trees. But as life went on, he kept adding to the pockets. A failed business venture became a 5-pound weight on his left shoulder. A broken relationship became a jagged rock right over his heart. The traumatic memory of a cold winter where he felt helpless became a heavy plate across his middle. Soon, the vest weighed more than he did. It became his identity. He no longer saw himself as Silas the builder or Silas the friend. He saw himself only as the man who carries the weight. The vest changed everything about how Silas interacted with the world. He could no longer sit comfortably at a dinner table because the stones pressed into his ribs. He stopped going to the river to swim because he was terrified that the weight would pull him straight to the bottom and he would never resurface. He even stopped hugging the people he cared about, because the hard, cold stones of his past created a barrier between his heart and theirs. He was physically present, but he was emotionally encased in a fortress of lead and canvas. He was exhausted in a way that sleep could not touch. His very bones felt tired. One summer evening, Silas was walking home along a steep mountain path. The sun was setting, casting long, purple shadows across the trail. He was struggling more than usual. Every step felt like he was lifting his entire life's history off the ground. His breath was coming in short, ragged gasps. Halfway up the trail, his knees finally gave out. He collapsed onto the dirt, the weight of the vest pinning him down like a beetle on its back. He tried to push himself up, but his arms shook and failed. He lay there, staring at the darkening sky, feeling a profound sense of despair. He realized that if he did not do something, this vest would eventually be the thing that buried him. As he lay there, a woman named Alara happened to be walking down the path. Alara was a healer who lived in a small cabin near the summit. She saw Silas struggling and knelt beside him. She did not try to pull him up, she knew the weight was too great for that. Instead, she looked at the straps of the vest, which were digging deep, bloody furrows into Silas's shoulders. She reached out and touched one of the stones through the canvas. She asked Silas what he was carrying. Silas, with tears streaming into his ears, began to tell her. He told her about the stone of his father's disappointment. He told her about the stone of the friend he couldn't save. He told her about the heavy, jagged rock of the day his world felt like it had ended. He spoke for a long time, his voice cracking with the effort. As he spoke, something strange began to happen. The air around them seemed to grow still. For the first time in decades, Silas was not just carrying the memories, he was sharing them. He was letting the words out into the open air. Alara listened with a patience that felt like a warm blanket. When he was finally finished, she reached out and unclipped the first buckle on his side. Silas flinched, instinctively reaching to close it again. He told her he couldn't take it off. He told her he had to remember. He told her the weight was who he was. Alara looked him in the eyes and said something that changed his life. She told him that remembering is not the same thing as carrying. She told him that he could honor his past without letting it crush his future. She told him that the people he had lost would not want him to be a slave to a vest of lead. She reached into one of the pockets and pulled out a single, gray stone. She handed it to him. It was the stone of a mistake he had made when he was only 19 years old. Silas looked at it. It was just a rock. It was cold and inanimate. It had no power over him except for the power he gave it by keeping it in his pocket. Alara pointed to a large oak tree nearby. She told him he could leave the stone there, at the base of the tree. She told him the tree was strong enough to hold the memory for him, so he didn't have to carry it in his vest anymore. With a trembling hand, Silas reached out and placed the stone among the roots of the oak. As his fingers let go, he felt a tiny, almost imperceptible lightness in his chest. It was as if a single bird had flown out of a cage. Alara unclipped the next buckle. They sat there for hours in the moonlight. One by one, Silas took the stones out of his vest. For each stone, he told a brief story. He acknowledged the pain, he acknowledged the lesson, and then he placed the stone on the ground. He found stones that weren't even his. He found weights that had been put there by his parents, by society, and by people who had been unkind to him. He realized he had been carrying other people's judgments as if they were his own failures. He laid those down, too. As the pile of stones at the base of the tree grew, Silas's body began to straighten. The deep furrows in his shoulders began to itch as the blood flow returned. His breath started to become deep and steady. Finally, the vest was empty. It was just a piece of hollow canvas. Silas unzipped the front and slid his arms out of the armholes. He stood up. He felt so light that he almost feared he would float away into the stars. He stretched his arms high above his head, feeling the full expansion of his lungs for the first time in 30 years. He looked at the empty vest lying in the dirt. He realized that the vest hadn't been protecting him at all. It had been holding him back from the very life he was trying to protect. Silas did not leave the stones behind and forget them. He knew where they were. He knew they were at the base of the oak tree. He could come back and visit them whenever he needed to remember a lesson or honor a memory. But he no longer had to wear them. He could walk away from the tree with his head held high and his heart open. He walked the rest of the way up the mountain that night, not with a shuffle, but with a stride. He felt the wind on his skin, unobstructed by the canvas. He felt the warmth of his own blood pumping through his veins. He was Silas again. If you are watching this today, and you feel the weight of your own vest pressing down on your shoulders, please know that we understand. We know that some of your stones are heavy. We know that some of them feel like they are part of your very skin. We know the fear that if you let the weight go, you might lose who you are or forget what you've learned. But at Divine Therapy Incorporated, we want to tell you that you have carried it long enough. You have proven your strength. You have shown your dedication to the truth of your past. But your past does not require you to be a prisoner. You are allowed to unbuckle the straps. You are allowed to take the stones out of your pockets and place them on the solid ground. You can remember without suffering. You can honor the people you have lost by living a life that is light and full of joy. Imagine yourself now, standing at the base of that great oak tree. Feel the weight of your vest. Now, imagine reaching for the first buckle. Feel the click as it releases. Take out one stone, just one. Look at it. Recognize it. And then, set it down among the roots. Feel the small shift in your balance. Feel the tiny bit of space that opens up in your chest. You do not have to do it all at once. You can take out one stone today, and another tomorrow. You are not defined by the weight you carry. You are defined by the spirit that persists underneath it. You are a builder, a dreamer, a friend, and a soul of infinite worth. The world is waiting to feel the warmth of your heart, without the barrier of the stones. Take a deep, light breath. Let your shoulders drop. The ground is ready to hold the weight for you. You are free to walk on. Thank you for trusting us with your journey today. May you find the courage to be light, and may you walk with peace in every step.